Hello, we are back for the last, or the one before last session. There will be the concluding session a bit later on. What we have been given a few minutes now to go through what we supposedly call highlights. Obviously, we made a choice, Amy and myself, together with Elizabeth and others, people from the staff. And in fact, in these highlights, we believe that it is extremely important. You have 4 items here. In fact, the persons with MS are and should remain once more at the core of our thinking about persons with MS. Why is that? In fact, empowerment is our number 1 priority. Whatever our action to improve the quality of life of persons with MS is, we should to all possible extent let them decide for and by themselves, taking into account, obviously, their capacity to do so. I'm not suggesting that it is possible in all circumstances, but let's not infantilize patients. I think there is a trend in the civil society to infantilize citizens. We should abstain from doing that. I know it's a solid statement, but I think it is necessary to stress this. It appeared also very clearly that the role of MS nurses, but also in those countries where there are no MS nurses or less MS nurses, the patient associations, social workers, and informal carers should be better recognized. In fact, we notice that there is an overall, it's not a European phenomenon as such, but in Europe we have disparities which are quite important between the various countries, but on the whole, the role of the nurses is in many countries not an official role. It's just an organizational role and something that has been called to life by a number of people. But the same applies to social workers and informal carers, and the role of informal carers is maybe somewhat better in some countries, but it should be better recognized. I'll come back to the empowerment later. But what we also see is obviously that, and it's one of the highlights of this conference, is that the DMTs are making progress. We all see that, we all welcome that, we all believe that it's going rather slow, and for some forms, as for primary progressive, it's going very slow. Despite the huge efforts of MSIF and their colleagues of primary progressive association, but the way ahead shows that progress will mainly stem from improved multidisciplinary consultations. That is for sure. And when we say the patient should be central in that, as Amy suggested in her presentation, or suggested clearly ended her presentation with, I mean, the patient being central, it can be a formula, a slogan, and it very often is. The patient has to be in the center of everything. And at the end, in fact, the patient is not in the center. He's too much an object and too little a subject. So in our view, it's important to recognize that. And the last point on this first slide is that MS nurses and their training play a key role in improving this process. It is important that not only we say this, and I'd like obviously that that this message would be carried to the authorities in the European Parliament and to the European authorities, because it is extremely important that this would be recognized, that the MS nurses and their training should find some sort of support and financing in the future. Next slide, please. Now, when it comes to empowerment, I think that the role of persons with MS has also been enhanced in establishing the diagnosis, which wasn't the case many years ago, but which is improving time passing. But also their role in defining the treatment in their care or being cared for, and by the increasing power given to the patients by the social media. We all know that the social media are playing a major role, as well as the access to information and treatments, sometimes to the despair of the neurologist. But it is the right of the person with MS to go on internet or whatever serious scientific site and look for information. So there too, I mean, there is an empowerment that should be respected. As Marcello Moccia showed us yesterday in his exceptionally good presentation, the treatments have improved in the last 20 years. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt. Alongside with the disease awareness and with the improved communication between the caregivers, the healthcare professional, and patients. However, there is still room for improvement. I think that we all know that, and we all notice this in daily life, in our contacts with persons with MS. Empowerment is also achieved by, it's not only the others that have to empower, it's also achieved by self-confidence, acceptance, and self-care. I mean, it's not a one-way process, it's a two-way process. The others, the environment, the family, the carers, and so on, have to empower, but the person, him or herself, have also to do part of the work, obviously. And as we were told, and I was very interested by that remark by Donna Cardillo, in fact, she said, resilience is not just a talent or capability. I mean, I think we all see that today with the COVID-19 crisis. Resilience can also be structured and improved, and taking the time to develop self-care habits will facilitate better quality of life for both the patient and the caregivers, because there too, it's a two-way process. The one before last empowerment item is that the empowerment is also the result of community care support. So asking for and getting help is as you can see, essential in the early stage of the diagnosis. Obviously, people cannot be forced to get in touch with MS societies or whatever. They have to do it at their pace and in their own way. But it's extremely important that the community care support be aware of that. And last item about empowerment. It has also been given an opportunity with the booming interest for digitalized contacts. We have heard a few, I think it was this morning, a very interesting presentation on that topic. However, digitalization of the health and social care should be properly financed, which is not the case for the time being, and expectations of the patients. Digitalization is not the answer to everything. We've heard that from a poll result that made appear very clearly that the vast majority was considering digitalization as an important element, but not as the answer to everything, and that social contacts remain extremely important. I will hand over to Amy for the last slide. Amy, the floor is yours.
Sure. This is a slide that talks about the caregiver-patient relationship, and we felt that the MS nurse is a key in the provision of expert and consistent information. However, the role of social workers and informal caregivers is often neglected by the health and social care systems. So we need to remember that those people are very important parts of that team that we talk about to support the people with MS. The role of patient associations is really neglected, and in terms of their legal recognition, sometimes it's even completely ignored. And we talked about the disparities of healthcare and social care systems across Europe. There's a strong push for a greater EU collaboration for integrated social and health policies. And different stakeholders should start to initiate that dialogue now. And the digitalization of healthcare and social care should be properly balanced. Next, please. So the highlights from today's session is blank. Now, that I don't think that means there were no highlights. I honestly think that there were a number of highlights, but obviously we had no time to put them together in a slide format. Professor Hartung reminded us that just because a patient has MS does not mean that they are at increased risk for COVID. People with MS have an immune system that is not suppressed. In fact, it's overactive, and that's what starts the cascade of problems in MS. And he also talked very eloquently about what the vaccines are, how they work, and the fact that the consensus so far from all of the published literature that he presented is that we do not interrupt or stop our disease-modifying therapies for patients. The risk of doing that and the risk of the progression of their MS seems to far outweigh any benefit that delaying therapy might actually have. We also had an excellent presentation on caring for the caregivers. We talked about the need to recognize both formally and informally those informal caregivers, particularly the young caregivers, and support them through caregiver organizations and look at trying to equalize their recognition, their support, both emotional as well as time, as well as financial support across the EU countries. And then finally, we talked a bit about the future of multiple sclerosis, and I think the future is very bright. I think that there's a tremendous amount of research going on looking at biomarkers that help us better identify how and when and which treatment to use for people with MS. And I would finalize this session on highlights by saying, honestly, the highlights of this conference that we have presented are the impressions of Charles, myself, and Elizabeth, as well as Anne and Pedro. But truly the highlights of this conference are what you, the learners, take away from this conference. And I do hope that you are overloaded with highlights and will be able to implement them eminently. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I think we are handing over. It is the last part of this session.
Yes, so we hand over to Anne and to Domenica.
Hello. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, hello everybody, and it's great to be back again. In fact, it's hard to believe that it's been 3 days since I was here talking to you and welcoming you to the conference with Pedro. Co-presenting with me now is Dominica. Hi, Dominica, and we're going to just close the conference session over the next few minutes. Well, wow, what a great conference. Absolutely great. And Charles and Amy have summarized the highlights, and there's so much. It's hard to believe that we have learned so much over these few days. And we hope that you have enjoyed it as we have enjoyed it. We hope, as Amy says, that you're taking away some learnings, advice, or even tips that will help you, that you can implement. But most importantly, I hope you had some fun. And also, we hope that it's given you hope, because certainly there's lots of exciting hopes in the MS world just now. So I guess, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for us? What's next for all people with MS, carers, national MS societies, the professionals that we collaborate with, EMSP, MS Nurse Pro? What's next? Well, I say, let's continue to give voice to MS. And we have so much to say, haven't we? Go and raise awareness in your country. Talk to your politicians. Talk to your decision makers. Talk to your professional staff, the people that support you. Tell them what makes a difference for you. And if possible, use the MS barometer, which is very recent study, which highlights and names the issues in your country, names issues in countries across Europe. And this information is invaluable in bringing concerns to the decision makers. Use the highlights from this conference, the findings from this conference. We have lots of information at our fingertips. But most of all, tell them what it's like for you. What it's like for you, whether you're working in the field, whether you're volunteering in the field, whether you're a carer, you're a significant other, and most importantly, if you live with MS. Tell them what it's like for you. So we know we want equal access. We know we want equitable services, and even more. So as mentioned in the highlights, and mentioned particularly by Charles, EMSP will actively continue to promote awareness at EU level, will seek changes in policy, and will also support you and your national MS societies in particular in your efforts. So I guess, folks, this role is a priority for all of us. Now, it's been said again and again, and the conference clearly reaffirmed the importance of training and support for nurses, carers, and professionals. Our flagship project, MS Nurse Pro, MS Pro, is helping to train and support nurses, allied health professionals, and carers. As you know, over 7,000 nurses or professionals are registered users already. So far, so good. Now MS Nurse Pro has clear vision for the future. We've, at this conference, launched a new digital platform, and that is going to be a very interactive platform. It wasn't before, but it will be now. People will be able to share expertise, experience, ask questions, and more. You can go on the link. You can learn and share too. You can talk to people in your own country, or you can talk across countries. It's an exciting development. Dominica, I'm going to go over to you now. Hi there. And you're the recently appointed chairperson of MS Pro Steering Committee. And I know you have lots of plans for the future. So come on, tell us.
Yes, indeed, we have lots of plans. We will develop and offer a blended learning paths. That's something new. And those paths will combine online courses with in-person trainings. It's already happening in some of the countries, like Germany, for example. And this will be achieved, hopefully, in collaboration with national MS societies and national nurse societies. We will develop the platform to accommodate in-person training and to enable integration of e-learnings created by third parties. So you will be able to upload other professional certificates into the member account. We will broaden the online curriculum. We're planning to do course on digital skills or course on research. And very important, we will translate the curriculum into Russian. Russia, huge country, lots of nurses. Then it will be available in 13 languages. And finally, we will continue to promote and advocate for improvements in support to nurses and reach out more to other health professionals working alongside person with MS, like psychologists or physiotherapists.
Wow. Hey, it really is exciting. And so while we've traveled a long way, there's a long way to go. And it's just so important, isn't it? And people tell us again and again how important the nurse and other professional social workers, carers are. So this support to them in so many languages and being able to be interactive and have translation in the interactions will make a great difference. Now, Dominika, I know you have another campaign to tell us about before we move on. What's that?
Yeah, yes, that's true. Just a year ago, no one could have predicted that COVID-19 will have such a huge impact on our lives, on lives of millions of people all around the world. As we all pass through a consecutive unlock phase, we need to adapt to so to say, new normal and begin the healing and rebuilding phase. And so we would like to invite you to join our 1 million steps challenge and help raise funds for 1 million people affected by MS in Europe. The challenge is launched today and will culminate on 3rd December this year, so 2021, marking the International Disability Day. It is open for all participants across Europe and overseas, and for all fitness levels. This is also important. So you can complete the steps or kilometers at your own place. You can run, you can walk, you can swim, or complete 100 kilometers in your wheelchair and raise funds along the way to support the initiative and to support 1 million people living with multiple sclerosis in Europe. You can join as a team, or you can just do it yourself. To participate, visit the website. I hope it will be shown somewhere or not. If not, definitely it will be on EMSP website. It's donate.emsp.org/even/1 million steps. So we invite you to join this new and happy, in fact, initiative. Something positive.
Did I tell you? I don't know, Dominika, did I tell you I'm going to do it with my dog?
Seriously?
And every step that I do,
is a team.
she will be doing 4 steps. So I go get the dog sponsored as well. Anyway, I know you've all been enjoying the slideshow of drawings made by our graphic facilitator, Andres, throughout the conference. And as we say the final thank yous and goodbye, please enjoy the wonderful slideshow, which really summarizes the conference for us and depicts in caricature form all the contributors. So at this stage, it's up to me and Dominika on behalf of the conference committee to say a sincere thank you to everybody. A sincere thank you to you, the participants, the audience, for your enthusiastic participation, both at the sessions and at the networking sessions. We had great fun I hope you had great fun too. But not only that, I hope you are taking away the key points or messages that motivate you. In particular, I want to thank Amy for staying up all night in Chicago to moderate this wonderful conference for us. Thank you sincerely, Amy, and for your just incredible expertise and knowledge, which you have freely shared with us during this conference and throughout the year in MS Nurse. So thank you, Amy, and I hope you're going to have a really good rest after this. Charles, too. Oh my goodness, Charles, your moderation was really, really relaxed and comfortable and made us all feel relaxed. And your knowledge and experience over the years is invaluable. So you both enabled the conference to run smoothly. And I just want to say, what a great job. Thank you. Thanks to all the speakers who brought their expertise to this conference. Lots and lots of speakers and so many people to thank. So to every one of you, thank you sincerely. Thank you, whether you were coming from your office, from your home, or wherever you were. Thank you so much. You shared so much with us. And I think one of the wonderful presentations and interest throughout this conference was the fact that so many people with MS are putting together posters, putting together their experiences and sharing with us. And of course, even the research that, for example, Kira and Joanna is doing, lots of really good research that's teaching us and enabling us to live better with MS and to represent MS more fully. Thank you sincerely to all the speakers. Thanks to the writers, the team of writers. Wow, thank you. The graphic facilitator. And of course, in the background, you don't really get seen, but the amount of work and preparation that you have done, as well as Downtown Europe. Is that a great name? Downtown Europe. The Salman production team. Guys and girls, thank you sincerely. Thank you for having us on time, reminding us when we needed to get in, and sharing all the slides and background so professionally. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. We sincerely thank our sponsors for resourcing this conference, their support for the conference, and their I suppose, confidence in us in so many ways throughout the years, and the support they give to us. We say a sincere thank you. And finally, and by no means least, I want to sincerely thank the EMSP team. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you sincerely. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And Dominica too, we really want to sincerely thank you. And I know that you've pulled the conference together with the conference committee under the able and experienced leadership of our Chief Executive, Elizabeth. Well done. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done. So now we look forward to welcome you to our conference next year. But we also look forward to you tuning in, seeing the conference again and again if you want to get back on and see it, seeing the conference report, and hopefully we'll see you in person in the very near future. So despite COVID and the restrictions, we've all connected during the last few days, and for that I say a big thank you, and what a joy. And Dominica, if you want to come back in now, maybe you could just join me.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, yeah.
Thank you,
so
and
I
to
think
you.
you too want to.
So,
And to you. But let's wave goodbye to everybody, and we wish you a safe and happy time over the next while, and goodbye.
Goodbye.